This is Cairo's #1.
Now.
NILE FM Aware.
Welcome to yet another episode of NILE FM's Aware. With me in the studio tonight, Alia ElKady, one of the members of the Organ Transplant and Donation Initiative. You don't want to miss this. Stay tuned.
Cairo's #1.
Welcome to the show, and yes, you didn't mishear me the first time around. With me tonight in the studio is Alia ElKady, one of the members of the Organ Transplant and Donations Initiative. Alia, welcome to the show. Welcome to the studio.
Thanks, Adham. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Great, thanks.
Alia, I need to know because, I mean, let's face it, right off the bat, organ transplantation, organ donation, very hot topic, very controversial topic here in Egypt. I'm very interested. How did you guys come to be? How was this initiative in particular created?
Well, the initiative is made up of a lot of medical students, actually, and they came to notice that that issue is not really addressed during their studies, as well as in the whole country. We don't really hear about people donating their organs or organ transplant happening as often as we'd like. So we decided that maybe we should look into it and try to see what's stopping it. What can we do to make this, change the culture and make it more common, I guess.
And when did you guys start off?
Well, we started last year, actually. That's when the idea came up. And NileFM Aware, they have an incubator program, and we applied for it, and we got in, and they've been very supportive, actually, in helping us start it up.
Well, that's very, very cool, because I'm very interested, like, out of all the issues, or out of all the challenges that face Egypt, why this one? Why do you think that we need this so much?
Well, you know, we're a country that has, like, 22% of our population has hepatitis C, which causes liver failure, and a lot of people need transplant. Like, this would be life-saving surgery. And also, you have like 7.8% of the population has chronic liver disease, so you're like, a lot of people would be helped and be saved by having transplant surgery.
I had no idea that the numbers were this big. It's amazing how this information is completely oblivious to most of us, as well as, I mean, me included as well. And I'm very interested. Are there any mechanisms that you, like, you know, or any framework that you operate within?
Well, it's great that you mentioned that, because actually in 2010, a law was passed that allows cadaveric organ donation, and by that I mean when you pass away, you can donate your organs to someone else to use them. So far, what we've been working with is I can donate it to my son, my husband, my family, like first, second, third, I think maybe maximum fourth degree relatives. But having cadaveric, like people when they pass away and donating their organ, that's new. And this law was passed in 2010, but it has yet to be in effect. And that's the problem that we're facing now. Not really a problem as much as a little challenge that we want to change. We want to make people ready to, when this law comes into effect, we want to make people aware that that's actually something that they could do.
And what exactly do you have in mind? I mean, like, you know, do you have any awareness campaigns, or do you have a couple of brochures, or, I mean, what exactly do you do? How do you want to bring this message across?
Well, that's what the whole initiative is about. We want to raise awareness on two levels, actually. One level is addressing the general public and educating them about organ transplant and organ donation and how it's going to save lives and how it's not haram, or it's not like morally or ethically wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. Also, we want to work with medical students who are unaware of that field. More or less, they're not introduced to it as well as we like. So that's another thing that we want to work on.
Well, that's definitely an initiative.
Yeah, another aspect of what we want to do is link medical students to opportunities, research opportunities, as well as internship and observership opportunities in the transplant field. We have a lot of really great doctors that do transplant surgery, but they realize that that's a career path after they graduated medical school, because no one ever told them that you could do transplant surgery in medical school. So giving students the opportunity to get these research opportunities and internships and see transplant surgeries in action would be great for them to increase the awareness of the students that that's actually a career path they could pursue if they'd like.
Wow. I mean, basically, so what you're saying is that you connect students with the doctors and kind of hook them up with internships so that they might consider this as a viable future for them.
Exactly.
Not just like, you know, OBGYN or like whatever.
Exactly.
It's very, very, very impressive. I really like that. Now, one last thing that I want to talk to you about before we, like, you know, break over here is, how are you guys doing this exactly? I mean, do you go to universities individually, or do you talk to your friends? How exactly does this work?
Well, the majority of our team are actually doctors and medical students in both Ain Shams and Qasr Al Aini. So we have the connections with the doctors and with the student body. So that's one aspect of it, actually reaching word of mouth, basically people that we know. And that's like the other, trying to connect as many people as possible, whether through social media or actual word of mouth. And hopefully we can like get people excited about this and actually have people change their mindset about what organ donation and transplantation is, and maybe save lives.
Cool. This is very, very, very cool. I'm really, really happy to hear this. What exactly are your future plans, short-term, as well as what is your long-term objective? Where do you think this is heading, and where do you want it to head to?
Well, our short-term plan is basically raise the awareness of the people, have them ready to accept something like that when the laws are passed eventually, and at the same time have doctors excited about it and into that field more and more. Our long-term plan, we really, really hope that, you know, like abroad where you have a database of donors and recipients, and people can basically, if they need an organ, they can actually find one. That's what we hope to do, save lives by having people become donors, and at the same time, if need be, find a donor if they need to receive an organ.
That is very, very cool. Thank you very much for an initiative like this. As I mentioned earlier, if you're working on an initiative, if you're involved with an NGO, if you're affiliated with a social development initiative or cause, do get in touch. aware@nileradioproductions.net is the email. That's aware@nileradioproductions.net. Email me, send me a brief, give me an idea of what you're trying to do, and we'll definitely want you on the show. We'll definitely want to put the spotlight on everybody that's trying to give back to our community. Unfortunately, time is up. I mean, I have to skedaddle out of here, and of course this was NileFM's Aware. With me in the studio tonight, an amazing initiative represented here by Alia ElKady, the Organ Transplant and Donations Initiative. In a nutshell, if I can summarize, basically what you're trying to do is, from the long-term perspective, is actually have a list of and a database of organ donors so that people that have particular diseases or need organs have access to them, and you're doing this through these awareness campaigns as well as connecting med students with doctors that are actually doing this for a living. I just have one last question before I let you go. Exactly, I mean, setting aside the statistics, how many people, like, you know, require this or not, what got you personally invested in such an initiative? I mean, why not, like, you know, cleaning the streets of Cairo, or why not something along those lines? Why this?
I don't know, it was just, you know, a spur of the moment kind of thing where we thought about it and we realized that we don't have that. This is something that's completely new that no one has talked about in Egypt before, and something that's pretty common in places like the US and Europe. I mean, having something completely new to start with and being the first one to do something is pretty great, you know. It gives you a great feeling of like, I'm a pioneer, I'm gonna do this, you know.
Absolutely, and a pioneer you guys are, absolutely. And I mean, thank you for taking the initiative, and Alia, thank you very much for coming here on NileFM's Aware. It's been an epic pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for the initiative, and thank you very much for your time.
Thanks a lot.
Well, that's a wrap for NileFM's Aware for tonight. Stay tuned for another episode next Saturday right here with me, Adham, on NileFM's Aware. Another initiative, another organization, another group of young individuals trying to make a difference for Cairo and Egypt and trying to give back to our community. That's it for us. I'll catch you next week.